Literacy and Numeracy Across the Curriculum by Cheyenne Montebello. So why literacy and numeracy? On the 5th of December 2008, the Melbourne Declaration was released in which it stated the educational goals for young Australians. The Declaration made explicit instructions in how improving educational outcomes for all young Australians is noted as a priority, as it is central for the nation's economic and social prosperity, as being literate and numerate positions young Australians to live fulfilling, productive and responsible lives. To further enhance the development of young Australians, the federal budget allocated just under $600 million to deliver a national action plan for literacy and numeracy across the curriculum, with an extra focus on teacher performance. The Literacy and Numeracy Partnership refers to effective and evidence-based teaching of literacy and numeracy, strong school leadership and whole school engagement with literacy and numeracy, improving literacy and numeracy for primary school students, especially our Indigenous students, monitoring student and school literacy and numeracy performance to identify where support is needed, and developing a national understanding of what is the most effective way to teach literacy and numeracy. As a pre-service teacher, it is essential that I have the utmost knowledge and comprehension of numerical and literacy skills. As outlined by the Australian Professional Teacher Standards, students' learning is enhanced when educators have sound knowledge of the content and engage in the best practice of delivery. To ensure educators have the basic literacy and numeracy skills required to teach students of Australia, the National Literacy and Numeracy Testing for undergraduate teaching candidates is now compulsory through the induction of the Literacy and Numeracy Test for Initial Teachers Education, aka known as the Landtite Test. Even though I have successfully completed the Landtite Test, there are still areas of improvement to ensure my best practice in my teaching. As per required of the assessment task, upon engaging in the literacy and numeracy test provided, there are areas for me to improve it to be a proactive educator to improve the students' skills. As expected, I was weaker in the numerical aspect of the test. This has been prevalent throughout my whole educational life, with numeracy and maths always being my weaker subjects. Fractions and percentages have always provided me with great challenges and is a concept that I have to keep on improving to better myself to reach my full potential in life and to be the best educator I can be. A strength of mine that I found while engaging in the literacy and numeracy test provided was that problem-solving skills, which included life scenarios and money, were my biggest strengths. Before I become a graduate teacher, basic numeracy skills is a must for me to engage in so I can be a teacher for the 21st century learning. As expected, the literacy component of the test was my strongest feat. Comprehension and symbolism, such as analysing text, has always been my strongest aspect of literacy. Areas to improve will be grammar terms and refreshing the rules of nouns, adjectives and verbs, which haven't been drawn upon since early high schooling years. Also, terms to improve on would be spelling. I think these aspects are my lowest, as due to the rise of technology and autocorrect, we don't have to think about the rules or spelling as it automatically corrects to the right word. As a pre-service teacher of the English subjects, improving my literacy skills is a must for me to be a proactive teacher in the 21st century. Schools across Australia are undertaking a holistic approach in enhancing the intended capabilities of improving literacy and numeracy skills. Educators, now more than ever, have a breadth of resources to use to enhance teacher and learning practice. These include relevant pedagogies, practice principles for excellence in teaching and learning, high-impact teaching strategies, assessments and feedback, informal activities such as classroom activities, formal activities which include assessments and NAPLAN. As a pre-service English and humanities teacher, there is efficient strategies that have been established to incorporate literacy and numeracy into the classrooms. These include pre-assessing students' readiness and plan instruction accordingly. Know students' interests, abilities, and needs and deliver the instruction also accordingly. Assess students often so that the instruction may be modified to keep students challenged just beyond their level of comfort. Facilitate learning activities so students may become independent learners. Engage students in meaningful, respectful tasks as they are learning. Allow students to explore their interests and to incorporate those interests into their learning activities. Teach students the skills they need to pursue independent investigations based on their learning. Extend and enrich curriculum based on students' learning styles, interests, and abilities. Have a toolbox of instructional strategies so the appropriate strategy can be used at the appropriate time with one student, a small group, or a whole class. This strategy has been proven to include the efficient use of literacy and numeracy in a classroom. Whilst it may seem impossible to include numeracy in an English and humanities classroom, it is made possible by these strategies. First, you need to articulate goals. Identify key areas that underpin the concepts you are seeking to teach and communicate to these students how these goals of teaching and explain how you hope they will achieve them. Secondly, make connections. Build on what students know, mathematically and experimentally, including and creating students with stories that both contextualize and establish rationale for the learning. Thirdly, fostering engagement. Engage students by utilizing a variety of rich and challenging tasks that allow students time and opportunity to make decisions and wish to use a variety of forms of representation. Then differentiate challenge. Interact students while they engage with experiences. Encourage students to interact with others, including asking and answering questions, and specifically plan to support students in need and who need a challenge. Structuring lessons is also essential. You need to adopt pedagogies that foster communication for both individual and group tasks and state clear learning opportunities. And finally, promote fluency and transfer. Fluency is important and can be developed in two ways: by short everyday practice of mental processes and by practice of reinforcement and promoting transfer of learnt skills into either English or humanities. Making the transfer of learnt skills explicitly to students should be a focus for numerical strategies. As per required by the fifth curriculum, it is stated that all classes should start with an engager or hook. In an English or humanities class, it will be a good idea to include a numerical activity as the hook, which can either be a life problem or a problem-solving skill that you can make as a quiz for the student to engage with and to improve their numerical skills. Literacy is explicitly incorporated into humanities and English as subjects areas are based around reading, writing, analysing, interpreting, and communicating. Whilst it is explicitly incorporated, measures still need to be in place to ensure progress has been made. A pedagogical application that can ensure that this progress is made is incorporating the 4Cs into learning. By engaging in critical thinking, students are developing their skills in analysing, interpreting, precision, accuracy, and reasoning, which are all fundamentals of literacy. One of the most important aspects of literacy is verbally communicating your ideas efficiently and effectively, and this can be achieved through communication and collaboration. By engaging in a simple think, pair, share, or peer work, students are learning the basis of literacy, which is communication, a feat that has been lost due to the rise of technology. By fostering creativity, we empower our students to interpret and truly appreciate what it means to be literate. Creative arts and critical literacy both require students to develop knowledge of and to learn to read the conversations of the symbol system used in the art forms to communicate and exchange ideas about the content. This is all reasons why the 4Cs are essential to literacy in an English and humanities classroom. There are many ways you can build literacy activities into your classroom. You can do how many words can students make? You give students a base word of a topic you are studying and see how many words they can make by adding prefixes and suffixes and make it a game. You could also include Scrabble, spelling quizzes, glossary, and a word of the day where students find a word of interest and they add that to their definition list. Due to the increase in stress in improving students' literacy and numeracy skills, there's been an abundance of resources available for teachers to enhance scores. One resource is the Practice Principles for Excellence in Teaching and Learning. This is high expectations, a supportive and productive learning environment, student voice, curriculum planning and implementation, deep learning challenges, rigorous assessment, evidence-based strategies, global citizenship, and partnerships with parents and carers. By incorporating this into your classroom, it's been noted that literacy and numeracy skills will improve. Literacy and numeracy skills will also be improved through the incorporation of high-impact teaching strategies, which include setting goals, structuring lessons, explicit teaching, worked examples, collaborative learning, multiple exposure, questioning, feedback, metacognitive strategies, and differentiation learning. These have all been proven by the Australian government to improve a students' literacy and numeracy skills when incorporated into a classroom. To conclude, as a pre-service teacher, I must improve my personal literacy and numeracy skills to better my students for the 21st century learning and living. Also, as a pre-service educator, there are an abundance of resources for educators to improve and incorporate literacy and numeracy into every classroom across the curriculum. This is a must to ready our students to be functioning citizens of the 21st century.